Ladies and gentlemen, the Ricky King. And I got to tell you, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of an introduction, but I got to tell you how excited I am for this. So I don't know, I don't know if you even remember this long ago or not, but I first I met you. I wouldn't say I even knew you, but met you probably a decade ago at Garden Swartz. Used to come in and say hi to T and hang out a little bit there.
Yeah,
And you've been one of those guys that our paths have kind of
always.
weaved throughout the years, but I've never gotten to sit down and chat with you.
Totally.
So I feel like I know you, but I don't know you. So I'm selfishly excited for an opportunity to, pick your brain, gain a little bit of perspective. But for everybody listening, Ricky, you're a husband, you're a father, you're an athlete, you're a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
you're a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said father.
Yeah.
Went through the list.
That probably checks most of the boxes.
You do a lot.
Yeah.
And
totally.
you do them well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. That's what I'm excited to learn about is I've always kind of I don't know, I've always seen you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always getting to, whether it's on a wrestling mat or in between basketball
I would say
games
probably
or-
part of the reason why we haven't hung out is because we're doing the same things, but yours is
Have the same
multiplied by
haircut.
yours multiplied by 3. I got 2. So we're constantly just I think I high five you leaving the wrestling gym as you're leaving because my son went to the afternoons where we just see each other or practice for football. Yeah. So probably a good part of it. There's the social life
Non-existent.
is not it's not very high up there right now.
Oh, we're
So,
about to say hunting too.
Hunter, yeah.
So I feel like there's I don't know.
We have a lot of parallels.
so much to
between the
chat
two of
about.
us.
Yeah. And like I
Certainly.
said, same haircuts too.
Yes.
So
Totally.
us bald guys got to stick together.
Totally.
But no, that's what I'm stoked to learn about from you is I've seen how I've been able to observe sort of, from a distance, just how involved you are and
Mhm.
how intentional you
Yeah.
are about stuff. And so I'm excited to learn from you. I think where I'll start is how do you juggle it all?
Yeah.
Or do you?
Well, just like anything, if you're gonna be great somewhere else, something else is gonna suffer.
Yeah.
Right. So just like I was saying, luckily my friends are welcoming if I'm hey, I'll see you next month on a Wednesday. You got to pin, I actually have a
From 3 to 4.
friend of mine, a hunting guide, I'm can you talk tags with me Wednesday at 5?
Schedule
That's
it.
my only day. So I think that certainly being organized with your schedule is big. And kudos to my wife. She's Miley is really big with the Apple calendar. And if it's not on the calendar, it's not a thing.
Doesn't exist.
And we're not color coded or anything at this point, other than it's nice now, all these, for different teams, using their software, they will then put their calendar onto your calendar.
Right.
So that certainly helps. Or the Fort Lewis basketball games. I just import that calendar into Apple and then I can look and say, oh, okay, they have these games. This is what we're going to try to work around that. So certainly, that the other thing is, you can't really overcommit. If you're going to overcommit, you're going to underperform. So football, for example, we'll miss the first week of football. Just my son has, Bible camp. Outside of that, we're not going to take it in very much trips, during that time frame because we've committed to that team.
Right.
And nothing more frustrating as a coach than having kids pop in and out whenever they feel necessary, or when they're probably more whenever their parents feel necessary.
Right.
The kids make some decisions, but a lot of it's Ben's not going to be there on Wednesday. We have friends in town. It's wow, they're still going to be in town before we're asking for 2 hours because then that changes all the dynamic of practice.
Yeah, especially if it's key player. Which
That's-
our
it's
second
key
year
player.
game, trying to remember how many. I think I only had 15 players
Yeah.
or 17 maybe,
Yeah.
but everybody mattered.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I think definitely having organization and commitment, and knowing that, by choosing to do this, you are sacrificing something else. And going what you were talking about hunting, right? I'm not that great of a hunter. I love hunting. I love it. And a golfer, I love golf. I'm also not that good at that. But mostly because I don't during the times like I don't scout because I haven't committed the time to doing it. If I really wanted to be a good hunter, I wouldn't be a football coach because then I'd be like, well, these weekends I'm going into the mountains and I'm going to set up cameras and I'm going to do this. And I just don't do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of my success is just like, honestly, just like grit of just like not giving up and then luck, and like that somehow when they cross, it's like awesome. Yeah. And then you got to execute, but I'm never like, oh, they're going to cross through here. And this is like, it just doesn't work for me like that because I haven't committed the time.
Yeah. How do you choose that? Because, and it seems like a lot of it, we've established that you do a lot. Like obviously, there's so much, and I'm curious on two parts. One is I do want to hear about how you find time for yourself, like whether it's hunting or golfing and kind of that trade-off. But before we go there, I want to talk about how you're prioritizing and how you're picking, because it seems to me like, and maybe I'm jumping to conclusions or making assumption, but it seems like definitely your kids are like, you're very involved, especially in your kids' athletics.
Sure.
And I mean, to be fair, I only coach one sport.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah. Well,
most of it
I just finished Parks and Rec, and then I have 2 club basketball teams. So I was coaching 3 teams like last week.
Yeah.
And then my daughter's in soccer, which I don't coach, but you have to, I took her to Albuquerque on Friday.
There's still all the driving. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say certainly, you have a finite amount of time with your kids, and to like not utilize that time, what to me is foolish. And part of it is, you said you want to get to know me. Like I have 2 loving parents. They're awesome. My dad wasn't around here, so I didn't really he wasn't really able to participate a lot. And then my mom worked a lot, so she wasn't really able to help. I mean, obviously she'd get me to the places and supported me well. But with that being said, I know that being involved in those sports because they were, hardworking parents, just doing the best they can for sure. Sports kind of molded me into who I like, kind of saved me in a sense that, you learn so many skills within sports. And the biggest one I think is, dealing with others.
Yeah.
I only played team sports and playing individual sports. So you're always going to have a coach you don't like, a teammate that you don't like, something's not fair, blah, blah, blah. So learning how to deal with that, I thought really helped me as an adult.
Right.
And with that being said, not all the coaches that I had were the greatest, and not all, some were just parents just trying to do the best they can.
Right.
But in looking at it, when I'm thinking to myself, and one of my friends who's an excellent coach said, like, what's best for the kids? What's best for the kids? Is it me, or is it, this person that never played that sport and is just trying to help out? If it's me, then I have a duty to do that.
Okay. So then that's where then there's that obligation to sort of raise the hand, so to speak.
Totally.
With the context of what's best for the kids.
What's best for the kids.
I like that.
And fortunately, I do have a lot of like freedom in my schedule. And I have a great group of employees that I'm sure like you do here that allow me to still have that freedom. Sometimes it's not so much, and it's wildly stressful and overwhelming and that sort of thing. But my knowing that I know more about this than a lot of parents, not a lot. Like I'm certainly not my knowledge is like capped at a certain point, but as far as like teaching kids how to work hard, how to be disciplined, all which translates amongst all sports.
Yes.
You can actually do a lot of damage in a good way, like winning, by just having those kind of consistency.
Yeah.
And which I feel like for me, I provide that for them because I can and I should, right? And so, yeah, you may have a parent that knows more about sports than I do, but if they're only able to come, you know, once a week or, you know, once every 2 weeks, then really kids need like structure,
And yeah, consistency is what I was gonna say.
consistency and structure. And if they don't have that, their mind wanders, and it's usually not in a good way,
Right.
you know? And so by me being committed to them, they like, the kids know that. They like know if you're like, you know, true to the game
Yeah.
or not. And so ultimately that's like why my choice is, because I can hunt later, hopefully, you know. That's why I try to stay in good shape.
Which, by the way,
You know?
I meant to call out the Murr this morning.
Yeah.
Sir Rules, you know?
Yes.
Ricky, Monday Murph, you know? On
Yes.
3 Murph.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and that's I'm curious your take on this, and I especially you talked about the business and it being at a point now where you've got a good team and you know kind of affording the flexibility and schedule to wear those other hats and be those. Which I want to add an anecdote to that I think it's so cool that the way you choose to use the flexibility is to pour into others.
Yeah.
Like I think that's so neat. One of the things, and you mentioned though, I can hunt later,
Yes.
something like that. I had just last week, I had a friend on the podcast. His name's PC, and we were kind of talking about these like balances between fatherhood and entrepreneurship and things like that. And I actually just literally ran into him at school pickup before this, and basically what we were talking about is like there's so much percentage of the time that we spend with our kids before they reach, I think it's like 16, you've spent 80% of the time you'll ever spend with your kids. Like by the time they
Yeah.
and what I'm wrestling with, and I want your perspective on is like, on one hand, I feel obviously a calling for that. Like I want to be a present father. I want to be the dad of the year. Like I want to be the best dad I know how to be. So I put a lot of work into that. On the other hand, though, I feel obligation to be a provider and like make sure that, you know, I'm making enough money and setting them up for success. And, you know, so I'm curious for you, how you kind of balance that, those kind of conflicting realities in
Sure.
fatherhood. And then two, maybe some insight on like timeline of your business and then the flexibility sort of occurred.
Yeah. Well, I'll get to another point here, but I will say, like, when my son was born, I took 3 days of work off. So I'm not just like, you know, I'll be in there when I need to be. No,
Right.
that certainly came with a lot of long hours, and I missed things.
And you have a commute too. Or
Yep.
did.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
like 40 minutes each way,
Yeah.
pretty much, which for people in a city is
It's not-
8 miles.
So for those of us in Durango,
Right
that's
here.
you know,
So I think that the biggest thing for me is you know, entrepreneurship is coaching. That's why I feel like it goes so easy. If I can delegate and I can find the people that need to be in the right places, like here's our captain of this, and and you establish these roles and they understand those roles, then that gives me the freedom and I have to trust though. Like I have to release, like y'all got it, right? There are times where I've left, you know, I'm leaving for a week and I'm like, I don't know if we got it, you know, and not to be mean towards them, because I love them, more of my employees, but more of the fact that entrepreneurship is so stressful in the sense that just like coaching is, you never really know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You have a plan,
You think you're prepared.
but you also are thinking about all the other ways I can fail, right? So, and I think that's what keeps a lot of people out of that. You know, just like a football team, right? We're going to scout them. We're going to see what formations they run. We're going to, you know, here's what they do on offense, here's what they do on defense. This is their Mike, this is their Will, this is their Sam. Like but they may have changed up their whole offense in the week before they played us. And and as soon as that happens, I'm gonna be like, oh no, I don't know what we're doing right now. And that's the same way with a business. You always have to be confident in like the work that you put in, but also constantly worried about something else.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. This afternoon. You know, it's like, so there's a lot of stress in that, which leads me to the second thing. I always kind of like the analogy of like, when you're on a plane and they're like, always secure your mask before you secure that of others. If I don't take care of myself first, I can't possibly be the best version for everybody else. So like for my wife and my kids and my employees and the kids that I coach, if I'm not all like 100% me, like it's going to bleed into all of them.
All of it. Yeah.
Now I also have to set my expectation levels of like what, like we talked about, what reasonably can I accomplish all of this in one, in this amount of time that I have. And so, if there are days where my schedule gets thrown off, like I'm a disaster because I'm so like and
It was like me almost missing my workout today.
yes.
And it was this close.
Yes.
Like,
like we're doing the floors at our house right now, which I don't know if you ever pulled tile. It's brutal. It's worse than whatever you think it is. There's dust everywhere.
you're doing it?
I started doing it. And then I was like, no. I don't have the time to do all this. But that just like even the clutter, all my stuff is in my garage. And then, I have my friend lent me a box trailer as like all of our furniture. So like our downstairs is just like, looks like a frat house. There's like a toilet in the living room and like 4 lawn chairs, because we just pulled all the floors out and you can't put anything back until they put the other stuff back in.
So now like routines are off a little bit.
Everything is off. Like, what are we eating tonight? What time are we, all of that goes away. And, that ripples into everything else. But if I can stay consistent with like exercise, honestly, like my biggest thing right there. And even though maybe not hanging out with my friends, but calling them and just kind of like touching base, those kind of ground me back down. And I think like, all right, this isn't
And then
that bad.
And then now you can, I don't know, then you can choose the priorities or
Clear. Yeah.
figure out
Your
the
head
balance.
gets clear.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, all right, I've taken care of myself. Now I'm thinking clearly, like, let's do this. And like, obviously that's easier said than done. Like sometimes things just get in the way and you just have to deal with it.
I mean, you're not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Never. Not close. My mom probably thinks I am, but
My top fan. My mom's my biggest fan. She'll one guaranteed listener on this episode will be my mom.
totally. Yeah.
Really
Shout out to the moms.
Yeah.
But I would say that, you really got to kind of take care of yourself. And then, if you're like, for the struggle of that is that you just kind of do the best you can.
Right.
But a lot of it, like I say, you do have to care for yourself at a certain level in order to really be the best for everybody else.
When did you feel like that became possible with the business? And how long have you been in business?
So I started in January 1st, 2015 was like opened. But I worked in insurance for another agent for like 5 years before that. So I kind of knew roughly what I was doing. It's obviously different when it becomes
Your business. Yeah.
and honestly, the biggest thing that I can say is they have this like slow to hire, quick to fire. If you have the right people, everything like that's probably been my biggest, gift, if you will, as a business owner, is just finding people that are good. I'm not, like you just mentioned, I'm not perfect, and I've had some hires that weren't great, and I've had hires that started out great, and then it fizzled out, or there's any number of things that can happen. But I do feel that I'm pretty good at like sizing up people,
Yeah.
and putting them where they need to be, and keeping them happy, because everyone's a little different. Some people want praise, some people need challenge, so they're all kind of different. So as far as so I'm 11 years in. If I would be lying to say honestly, I felt pretty good about it like within the first couple of years, mostly just because I had already kind of been doing it before I became
Right.
this. So if I was to say, I think that's like a good 5-year-ish learning curve.
Yeah. Before
Um,
it feels.
And
And is that from, do you think most of that's from, because you talk about like hiring and I want to,
I'm loving the parallels between entrepreneurship and coaching and parenting, really, but how it all kind of ties in together. And I'm curious if, when we talk about like flexibility with our jobs and the ability to do these other things that are really important, if you feel like most of that's from a people perspective or like a process perspective or both.
I'm sure it's both. You know, I think there's, one thing I'll tell you and that I saw. So, I work for State Farm. We had an agent retire. And, State Farm comes in and they say, hey, this guy's retiring. And we have our sales territory is like the west slope of Colorado. So all the way to Wyoming, Utah. And
Ooh, is that big?
There's like 50 agents or something in that. And we try to meet together, but obviously how rural everybody is. It's, it's in Glenwood or it's in Palisade or something where everybody's sort of a central location. Anyways, we're at this party, and it's actually a meeting, but they have a portion of that for him. And they're like, he's been here for, 30 years and these are his things. And they put out like a little Albertsons cake. It wasn't even like a homemade cake. And it was just like, congrats. And then he does his little thing. A couple people talk on his behalf and they're like, and now here's this person that's taking over for him. Welcome her in. And it was just like, it was gone. And so to me, I was just like, I love what I do and I love helping people and being insurance helps me help people. Although people don't always love insurance, obviously, but they need it. But I was like, I'll never put anything else above my family and other things I'm doing, knowing that if something happened to me and that's how like my life was treated, if my kids were like, or my wife is like, here's a cake for Ricky and here's my new boyfriend, I'd be like, oh, like that hurts. I expect them to do that because they have to.
Right.
So
sorry, finish your thought. That's just such a I don't know. That's just such a powerful little example there of.
Yeah, well, it's just like how much am I really affecting, and so I use my business, which honestly, when you're talking about processes, like that's our, like we have processes, we have relationships, but our standard is up here.
Yeah.
If you're not hitting that standard, and I was just having a conversation with someone that a friend told me about coaching, playing time, which is just your employees, right? Like I said, employees, team. It's like he said, I operate on a banking system, and if you're taking out more withdrawals than you're making deposits, then this isn't going to look so hot for you. And so even as a kid that's on your team, they're making a lot more mistakes and they're making, they can't play
right
as much. Same with the employees though. If it's constant that I'm somehow working on you versus like you helping us, then that's an issue.
I love the analogy of a bank deposit.
Yeah,
it's such a good way, because there's all these like things that, and that's why I love podcasting, is I'll experience things but not have like the words for it.
Totally.
And I'm going to take that on. That's a great one.
Well, and once again, I didn't make that up. Those are just other people that I surround myself with that, are also high performers.
Right.
That I just steal it from them.
Hey, we're not.
And so, I think that, I don't know that, I guess I am.
What do you think helps you more, or what do you think you learn more from? And we're going to stay on this path of the parallels.
Yes.
Because I think it's just fascinating. And I love again, it's another one of those things that I have experienced, but haven't known how to articulate.
Sure.
Like, because really, I've got a leadership coach. Her name's Susie Fair. She's so great. I've had her on the podcast a couple times, but last week I had a great session with her, and what she was teaching me about is energy levels and like the types of energy that we bring to specific interactions and environments and things like that. But what the long and short of it is that really, whether we're a leader or a coach or a parent or whatever, really what our job is energy management.
Sure.
Like energy influence, like making sure that people are operating with the energy that they need to be operating in and the space that they're meant to be operating in and things like that. And I've always like for me, this was my first year. This was my first year coaching, actually.
Sure.
And I ended up being the head coach.
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks in.
Totally.
And it was so fun.
You're gonna be head of Yaffle.
That's not.
You don't know this
We're editing
yet.
that out.
You don't know this yet, but you're gonna be head of Yaffle.
We have our first board meeting tomorrow. We'll see what goes.
No, but it was so fun for me. Like it was so fulfilling, and I found myself being re-energized with work. And I know that sounds weird, like because it's second grade youth football.
Sure.
Like my initiative is to make sure they love football and try to make some good men along the way. You know,
Totally.
like nothing crazy. But I found myself like carrying some of that into the workspace in a really good way.
Sure.
But I never thought about it in the sense that, like, I don't know, in a lot of ways it's similar roles.
Yeah.
Like we're coaching,
Very much so.
we're directing,
Yeah.
like making sure that we run the right plays and we've got the right people in place to run the play and whatever. So anyway, I'm loving the parallel. So we're going to
Yeah.
stay on.
Well, another one of those, sayings or something, but, as your job, as a business owner, which is the equivalent to a coach, is like, does everybody perform better when like you're involved? Right. So like, you think about, I'll use a pro football analogy, but you have the Patriots from last year. They win 4 games. This year they go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Seahawks, same thing, go to the Super Bowl. So you could argue, obviously players are going to change and there's that sort of thing. But really, those coaches that have come in have now elevated and created a culture in there that everybody buys into. It's the same thing, with your family, whether you're, is your wife supporting you because she believes in what you're doing, to your kids. We've all dealt with the struggle with our kids of like, I'm pushing this and the kids are like, I don't want that, or I'm pushing back. And it's so frustrating because you know what's best for them.
Yeah.
And I'm very upfront with my kids and the players and actually my employees that like, I'm not your friend. Like, you have friends. That's not my job, is not to be your friend. Like, you have those and that's awesome. And I love that for you. But, I literally just told my daughter this because she wanted TikTok, so I have a teenager. Dad, can I have TikTok? Dad, please, and I'm like, listen, and she's telling me I'm on honor roll. I'm in gifted and talented. I play multiple sports. I'm doing, and she's like she's giving me her resume of like why I should trust her. And I literally was like, it's not that I don't trust you. It's that my job is to protect you. And that I always believe you're going to make the right decisions always. But that doesn't mean that other people are going to have your best interests in mind. So like, that's why I'm here. I told her, dads are here to push you and dads are here to protect.
Yep.
Mom can coddle you and, nurture, and she's excellent at that. But like, that's not my job. And so if you're going to ask me for this, I'm going to say, no, not right now. And it has nothing to do with you, but it's because of like what I'm doing. So
Job. Yeah. Have you read The Anxious Generation? Have you read that book? You should read it. It's like, it's the hill I will die on.
Yeah.
And it's basically, I won't derail our conversation with it, but they did all these studies about the increase in social media usage with young kids.
Yeah.
And then mental health
Sure.
challenges. And it'll terrify you.
Totally.
And the gist of it basically is that modern parenting now, we're way overprotecting our kids in the real world, like helicopter parents and,
Totally.
doing that, and way under protecting our kids in the digital world.
Yeah.
And they need to be reversed.
Sure.
We need to let them go run free, be wild, I have my 2 oldest are boys. My daughter, she's 3, but she's going to give me a run for my money.
Oh yeah, totally.
In a few years, we'll have another.
The youngest one is always that.
But like for my boys, it's like, go get dirty, go like be boys.
Sure.
But then on the digital side, it's so new. And I think so many people have no idea how dangerous that is.
Totally.
So anyway, quick anecdote, but
Yeah.
great book.
No, I'll certainly read it. That way I can fire some stuff at her.
Then
She's really smart.
Yeah.
She's like, this is a tracking dad.
Yeah. Like legitimately dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh well, it's drugs.
Yeah.
They're their algorithm is to release dopamine. So it's how do you a kid can't even outsmart that. We can't even outsmart that.
No.
You know?
How do you balance that? Like, because in terms of like your technology usage and social media and stuff when you're being a parent. Like, what's
Oh,
your
for
take
me
on that?
myself.
Yeah.
Oh, I've catch myself totally. Yeah, it's dangerous. I've now had to set like time. I set limits, app limits, because adults doom scroll too. It's not children
No.
that just do that. And I catch myself as as an escape or something like that. So certainly, I've had to like. I really try to be conscious to not do it in front of my kids, where I'm like, I'd rather look at this than look at you.
Yeah.
Um, or even just making sure for like my biggest concern is attention spans. And, like my son wants to play Fortnite where you can just like reset. My daughter, she does have Snapchat, which honestly isn't that different than TikTok. So I don't know.
Hey, we're not perfect.
Uh,
We established that.
But the harsh part was all of the kids had it. Like it was like 90% of them did and 10% don't.
How old's your
No,
daughter?
so 13.
Okay.
So that's at what point are you actually handcuffing your kid by not letting them participate while everybody else is, and now they kind of get left behind? Like technology is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So to be so fearful of it that to not do it, I think would be foolish because it's gonna be there,
Right.
So you almost be better off exposing them. Like, well, what we're doing is we're exposing them to it, but teaching them how to manage it.
Yeah.
And teaching them that, hey, have you noticed that? And so their brain turns and not just like all you do is do this. Because that was my initial thing is you're always on your phone. I'm going to take it from you. It's because of your phone. It's because of your phone. And then my daughter, is just like, is it because of my phone that I have straight A's? Is it because of my phone that I just won a San Juan Basin basketball championship? Is it because of my phone that,
I'm out here crushing it.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not what I'm, whatever, but
What I have to look forward to.
oh yeah. But you have to teach them how to like manage that because it's not going away. And at a certain point, like you were saying, they're not going to want to hang out with you anymore.
Right.
And going back to that, another thing I stole is like a buddy, we're at the lake and he's like, yeah, like my son doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. That was like my best friend. Like we went fishing and we did like everything was that. And now he's like, Dad, can you drop me off at the movies with my girlfriend? Hey, can you take me to my girlfriend? Hey, can you take me to this? Like he doesn't want to do any of those activities with me. So to me, you have to teach that. You can't wait to teach it because like they may not be around you later.
Right.
And they're going to start learning from whoever it is that they're hanging out with.
Well, and that's because you had talked about, and they're all kind of related. So I'm curious your take on it. But you had talked about being a business owner, father, coach, or whatever. I forget your exact words, but you basically were saying if you're making the organization better by being involved, like if I'm involved, do things go better? I think is kind of what you were getting at. We use the
As a
example
coach.
of the Patriots or whatever.
Yes.
What I'm curious about is like at some point the coaching ends for the most part.
Mhm.
The game starts,
Sure.
right? And now it's up to the players or with obviously some exception, play calling and stuff. But for the sake of my conversation or, you're no longer your daughter's best friend
Sure.
or you take the time off from work,
Sure.
or whatever. How do you, I'm kind of curious your take on that of like where the influence begins and ends, whether it's coaching, business ownership, or parenting. Because I think one of the things I'm working on that I'm trying to get better at is sometimes it's better if I'm not involved.
Sure.
Like sometimes it's better if I trust that I've put the things in place or I've said the thing enough times.
I was just going to ask you, what's your trust level?
Yeah. Like, and I think some of that, I'm definitely getting professionally, I'm definitely getting a way higher trust level than I used to have. The early days at Ascent was so like, it was a weird evolution for me because it was like my personal brand and the company brand. And it was like, people are trusting me, and now luckily I think we've evolved beyond that, which has given me space to trust. And I trust my team for sure. I still definitely have, I still struggle with fear.
Yeah.
I think is a lot of it, or if I'm like, and so there's this balance for me of, I don't want to overmanage. Definitely don't want to overmanage. Definitely
Sure.
don't want to undermanage. And knowing that, so I'm just kind of curious your take on that, like whether it's at your agency or, you know, on the football field or with your parents, like, how do you know that the organization is better with your impact and that there's times to stand on the sideline, so to speak?
Sure.
Like when the daughter goes away or when the game starts, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, I think, well, probably no more powerful teacher than failure, right? So if you do it and then you leave it, you're like, well, that didn't really work out. I'm never doing that
Blew
again.
that one, yeah.
Probably that's first. And then, I mean, that is like, I think that's like the ultimate thing that we're all striving for is like, how do I teach this to these kids? And then when I go out, I almost don't even have to really coach other than strategy, right?
Call the
Because it's
plays.
just burning to their brains or my kids. I think there's just, I think if you're really going to say, I'll speak on behalf of a business owner, I guess, on that aspect, which is like, they trust me, I trust them, and they know what our ultimate goal is, and which is helping people. So if you think, as my employee, if I'm not around and their initial thought is, what do I got to do to help this person? Then they'll be fine, and so, whatever your, I don't know, what's your mission statement?
Yeah, look at our values wall.
Yeah.
I'll show you
Okay.
it after.
So that's it. I mean, if you're just saying, when in doubt, look at the wall.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, if somebody can't do that, then they probably don't have a place for it
Yeah.
to hear, which can be sad because you might like someone, but if they don't have the same, goal as you, then maybe, like you said, maybe they're not really supposed to be part of this organization. And that's not a knock on them. Maybe they're just not passionate about this. They have something else that they
Right.
be better at.
Just not a fit. Do you do
But-
the same thing then from a parenthood perspective? Like I'll call it establishing a North Star, or, like with the business, everyone knows the goal. The goal is to help people.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, I don't know, structured things like that in place?
My once again, another stolen thing, which is had a coach say that there's three things you can control: your attitude, your effort, and your belief in yourself. And everything else is like whatever, it's gonna happen. Like you can't. So I don't use that necessarily through my work, but certainly through my family and through sports.
Yeah.
If you ask any of my players, like if they walked in here right now and you said, what can you control? They would say it. Because I start off like, that's like the beginning of, once the season starts, end of July for football, basketball right now, we set them down and it's like, you have to give them their own, like, values and mission statement. Like, here's what we're here to do. And here's what our underlying beliefs are. But I think mostly for my kids is like, they know if they're trying hard, if they're being positive, and they feel and they believe in themselves and they can do, like everything kind of works out.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't it funny how that happens?
yeah, it's like, but things are always going to go sideways and you have to learn how to deal with that. But in general, it seems to not necessarily go too awry if you kind of have some of those values that are pretty solid.
Yeah.
Um,
I found too, I love that. I haven't had those great words for it. So just so you know, I'm going to steal a ton from this. I'm going to like write it all down and just
That's all.
totally copy.
As I said, I didn't make any of it up. It's all things that I took from other people.
But we had, at wrestling, and wrestling's it's an interesting one.
It's brutal.
Yeah, because they either win or they lose, and it's one-on-one.
Yep.
Like I love it and I hate it because it's just is what it is.
Sure.
Like, and sometimes I have to watch them get.
No one to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
It's very challenging to watch your child like looking at you. They're like bleeding on they have like stuff up their nose and the kid is just like rubbing their elbows or cross-faced on them and they're just like looking at me like, tell me. They're like,
I can't do anything.
you got 45 seconds, but
I'm here.
better get up.
So what we've been doing is I've been preaching effort.
Yeah.
And I've been telling both my boys, like, as long as you know you tried your hardest, then we're happy with the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, whether you win, lose, or draw, whatever, as long as you know you tried your hardest,
Totally.
then it's all good. And so Saturday, we did the tournament, and Carter's first one went great. He pinned him pretty much right away. Whatever.
Yeah.
Second one went the opposite. He got pinned right away.
Yeah.
And then the third one, he went the distance, and it was a battle. Like, and he's only, I was looking at your Instagram today, but I saw a post that you made forever ago when your son was 44 pounds.
Yes.
Sasana. Carter's
Yes. Okay.
so
Same.
40-pound weight class. I mean, it's the little guys. And, they went the distance, and he was beat, and he ended up losing by points. But I could tell that he was proud of himself.
Sure.
Like he fought hard, and then he got his third place medal, and we went on to fight another day. But I love emphasizing effort over wins and losses, because it's one of the things we can control.
Totally.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
just a good. I'm just taking that from this, because
Well, and realistically, I've been around enough youth sports. Many kids that are successful initially are not the kids that are successful later.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm a case study in that. I was a late bloomer. I was definitely lower skill set wise through youth sports, and then I went on to play college football. But
Yeah.
but I didn't really hit my stride till honestly probably my senior year of high school.
Totally. And you hear all the stories, or child prodigies that fizzle out because they get burnt out, or they, in my opinion, they just think that they're better, so they kind of ease off the throttle a little bit. But you go into my kids' rooms, I got, I'm obviously big with basketball. It was like the thing that I love the most. But so I have my son has all Kobe stuff in there, my daughter has all Jordan stuff in there. And it's just all the sayings that they all have of kind of just being cutthroat. I don't know if you read that. Oh, what's that guy's name? There's a book that was the trainer for both Kobe and Michael Jordan.
Oh, was it there was one about a sports psychologist with them. I'm trying
Yes. It'll come to me in a sec. But I kind of tell them a bunch of those things and just trusting this process, because I was you hear all the proverbial eventually talent meets talent, and then who wins if there's talent meets talent. Well, it's whoever has the most effort,
Yeah.
or whoever plans better, or that sort of thing. I have one picture of fifth grade where Parks and Rec and Durango used to give trophies for first. We have a first place trophy, and I'm that's the only. I don't even remember to my son. I don't remember any of that. I wish I had those shorts. Those are kind of rad. Maybe find them on eBay.
hung on to 'em.
Yeah, but outside of that, I don't remember any of that. All it did was just help me build and build and build until when I got to higher levels that I was equipped.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. No one was ever my senior year. They were hey, King's the fifth grade rec champion.
Right.
Let's get him in there. It was just what? That doesn't make any sense. So certainly just those habits of what you can control. And this year in basketball, this is what's funny too, of coaching, right? Last year we won one game on our team, and the year before, this year I think we won 2 or 3 games, right? You go back to my daughter's team, we didn't lose. I think we lost 2 games in 2 years or something, right?
And same coaching style.
Yeah, it's not like I coach girls better than boys. So it's not. They're also, you do have to have athletes
It helps.
to win.
Right.
And same with wrestling. At a certain point, especially when you're young, you're gonna run into a kid that's just stronger than you.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you have going on in your mind, they're gonna beat you. And I think I wrestled through 7th grade, and I remember I was like a baby deer. I had no muscle. And I remember just being I'm good. These guys have muscles
Beat up enough.
and
Yeah.
mustaches, and they're just throttling me, right? And then fast forward, 3 years or whatever, a sophomore in high school, I'm this much taller than them. I have more muscle than them. So it's all the kids are gonna mature at different ages, and they're all gonna have different skill sets of different, like some kids that are wildly fast, you know, in my opinion, and like from what I've seen, typically don't grow to be all that tall because they're getting into their body early.
Right.
And you see a kid that you're like, if that kid falls over one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. And then they end up being like 6'6". Well, yeah, you have a giraffe
Yeah.
running around. They don't even know what they're doing.
No wonder he was slow.
And ultimately, if you look at most professional leagues, right, who's gonna make it? The kid that's 5'8", 5'9", or the kid that's 6'6"? Like they're like, give me 6'6", I'll teach him how to play receiver,
Right.
right? But I don't care how fast you are, this guy can cover this much of you because he's this long. So I really try to put the emphasis to those kids of like, yeah, effort above all, because you can't.
Effort. Yeah.
You don't know.
I think my whole life is a case study in effort. Like I've got some good personal skills. Like I'm a good salesman.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, genuinely, as far as like talent is concerned,
Totally.
same. None of it. You
Same.
know? And I just work hard enough.
Same.
And
Yeah.
and consistency, like show up enough, do the thing that I know I need to do, no matter if I want to do it or not,
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
Which,
And
by the way, with that, right, that's abnormal, right? I kind of try to tell the kids when you're like, because you do some incredible things running, right? Partially, I bet you a tenth of the way into those big runs that you have, your body starts being like, we probably shouldn't be doing this. You need to, your brain is saying, hey, man, slow down. Hey, this hurts. Hey, are you sure you want to do this? Doubt's creeping in, and it's because it's there to protect you.
yeah,
Like, so all of the things that like you've accomplished through racing is the exception, not the rule. And it's because like your brain, your body is trying to tell you to like, hey, dude, just relax, conserve your energy. Eat a little something. You deserve a little sugar right now. Like you had a long day, and it's like, that's normal. That's like that's not the weird part. The weird part, even though it's better for you, is to be like, nah, or maybe I'll have a little bit of this, but I'm going to I'm going to stop when I get, I'm not going to eat a whole sleeve of Oreos, even though I could easy, just because you have the discipline to say, nah, I shouldn't do that. Like that's an abnormal characteristic that I think that's really what I try to push into those kids, is that like you coming into the gym, or you doing a Murph every Monday is not normal.
yeah.
But
rules are rules.
But that's going to put you in a place that nobody else can get to at a certain point, because you've done it so many times that they couldn't catch you anymore.
Right.
Like,
And I wonder, and that's where I think that's why I love youth sports so much. Cause I had great parents, and, I look back and it's like, nature or nurture,
Yeah.
like that dilemma of that. And I think that's why you and I relate so much is sports changed my life.
totally.
Like if it weren't for all the other lessons that I learned in sports, even just as simple as doing stuff I didn't want to do,
Totally.
over and over again, or making a commitment to a team. And so I've got to be there or whatever. And it's interesting. And I'm curious your take on it. I want to share one, you'll appreciate it. So I got to share a quick basketball story.
Yes.
And then I'll go where I was going with my question, but because you'll appreciate it. So Nathan's been playing basketball for 2 years now.
Yeah.
He's never scored a basket.
Okay.
And Sorensen men are not good basketball players. I only made it a few years, but we're showing up. He's doing the work. He's practicing. He's carrying. We're watching the NBA games. We go to the Fort Lewis games all the time. Like he's liking it. And so every game, I'm like, dude, today's the day.
Yeah.
I feel it. Like you're gonna get a basket today. And has it happened? And then last Saturday, he got his first basket,
Okay.
and it was the game winner.
Oh,
And it was freaking
top of the world.
peak human experience.
Totally.
Like, and we go home, we're watching game winner montage YouTube videos, like, I'm like, dude, it's a big deal. You got a game winner. Like, realize how huge that is. So anyway, I couldn't not tell you that.
Totally.
It was epic.
But how much sweeter was it that he made that, having not made the other ones?
Well,
Like he's
yeah.
persevered through that.
That's-
That just feels so much better now that you've accomplished.
Exactly. And I'm curious, and I don't have data on it. So it's all anecdotal. but it seems like, and I grew up in the suburbs of Denver, so or Utah too, of Salt Lake City and Denver. But when I was playing youth sports, there was tons of us.
Yeah.
Like there was, and I feel like, and I'm just kind of curious your take on it. Like I was shocked that there were 17 second graders that wanted to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I played football in second grade, there was 5 teams.
Sure.
There was 100 kids.
Sure.
And I don't know if if that's even factual or not, or if I'm just jumping, but it seems like participation in youth sports is sort of, I don't know. I'm surprised at how
I think football, if you go to the soccer field, there's
plenty.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's which is funny though, because football is getting a bad rap with like the CTE stuff, right? And really what it is when you're talking about old coaching and what happens when you were in 8th grade and you got your bell rung. They're like, are you good? Get back in. Unless you were like really something is like not good,
Right.
they're sending you back out.
You'd have to be puking. Yeah.
Right. And not a knock on them. They didn't know any better. Maybe some of them did, but I think mostly it just was just like a cultural, just like didn't understand it. Well, then it's just a reactionary thing for the United States where people are like, oh, I don't want my kid to get CTE.
Overprotecting.
And in Durango especially, right? So they're like, you know what? I don't want my kid to get CTE, so I'm going to make him a downhill mountain biker.
Yeah. I was talking
I'm going to put him on the ski hill with adults that are out of control
right.
on a ski hill. I'm going to send them out there. It's like, at least in football, yeah, they're big kids, but they're all the same age.
Yeah.
And
equipment's come a long way. I was talking to Reed Duvall. He's Nathan's basketball coach.
Yes.
Such a good guy. And he was he's in the Hall of Fame for
he played college football and soccer at the same time.
But he was telling me, I was surprised. He told me that all of his concussions came from soccer.
He told me the same thing.
Not to soccer, but
no, he told me the same thing. He said, I got more concussions playing soccer than I ever did playing football.
It's wild.
But that's not the perception of the media. And people don't, listen to what they see on, which is on TV, which is you're going to see Junior Seau, lose his mind and his family and whatever the media produces, right? The soccer, they just haven't published that sort of thing. Do I think maybe they should have a little more like 7-on-7 flag around here? Yeah. Like my friend Corey is like setting up he runs one in the spring, I think.
I saw the flag football camp this summer too, which I think would be great.
Yeah. But like when I was a kid, we didn't have Yaffle here. You could only do flag until 7th grade. Yeah. There was no Yaffle at all.
That's crazy.
So, I don't know. I think it's partially like where we live. As a it's not a ball sport dominated area.
Yeah, which is just part of our environment. Yeah.
And so but I think just the general media perception of football hasn't gotten the best rep. And which is wild because, there's so many different positions, obviously, in football that a kid can play, whether they're, it's like one of the only ones where if like you're big, you're small, you're fast, you're slow,
you can play.
You can play.
Yeah.
We'll find a spot for you somewhere out here. And a lot of other ones just don't really have that ability.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just such an advocate for it. Whether it's football, I mean, especially I joke that my kids can play whatever they want as long as it's football.
Yeah.
But I genuinely am joking. But like, I mean, I don't know. Baseball, basketball, any of the youth sports have just been, it's been so cool for me to see with the father perspective, the development that is occurring there. And I just want more people to experience it. Like it's just so, I don't know. It's just it's so neat. And that's why I think it's so cool how involved you are with it. And so I'm curious too, like, measuring success or I don't know, because I talked about it early on and kind of throughout the podcast that you do a ton.
Yeah.
And I think it's remarkable. I think it's really cool how much you do. I guess 2-part question. One is do you get worn out from it ever? Like, how do you maintain the enthusiasm for it?
Sure.
And then I'm also curious about what you determine to be success when it comes to the coaching component of your life.
Sure. Yeah, certainly. I definitely struggle at times of just being like, well, mostly like, am I doing the right thing for these kids? Once again,
Am I doing
entrepreneur.
yeah.
Am I, you send out a team snap message and nobody replies. You're like, okay, cool, you know. And then afterwards they're like, oh, thanks for. I'm like, we could have said something on the.
We need words of affirmation.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my love language. Hook it up. But I do. But honestly, like once again, it's just kind of diving back in the well of like of not normal, where I'm just like, all right, I'm not feeling good. And then you just dive in there like, well, if you're not feeling good, then they're gonna see that, and then they're not gonna feel good.
So it
And,
kind
you
of
know,
forces you to dip into those skills.
totally. And once again, like just gratitude. Maybe once again, I don't think we talked about it, but gratitude of like, how lucky am I that I get to do this right now? How, you know, how many, you know, I tell my son, you know, he's like, oh, Dad, we only do. I'm like, there'd be kids that would just do anything to look like you, to play like you, to, you know, who cares about any of the other stuff? Like, you should just be thankful that you can run, you can jump. You have a dad that wants to be there for you and hang out and you know, and like all
lucky are
these,
we?
how lucky are we? And so I think that a lot of times if you like use wherever you are and just compare it to something that's awful,
That helps.
then you're like, well, yeah, my gosh, I could be doing this. I'm not doing that. So like, you know, I got to fix it a little bit. As far as measurement of success, quite honestly, that's a hard one. Other than it's kind of more of something you feel than what you see, if that makes sense. So, for example, when you start to see a kid get out of a shell a little bit, you can't measure that. There's not a stat on the, you know, but or confidence, that sort of thing. But you can see it. Like I'm watching, and I'm sure you had it with second grade kids where you're just like, that first day, you're just like, oh my gosh, especially second grade. They all put on their armor, right? I always laugh. It's like LARPing. Like they all put on their armor and they just like, and they're just like everyone headbutt. They can't stop touching each other. I'm just like, dude,
I
stop.
had no idea how many laces I would have to tie.
Oh.
Shoelaces.
Stop touching each other. Everyone buy Velcro shoes. We're not doing this. You know, spread out, focus, and you know, and at the end of the day, it's like when you look at the end of the season, it's very rare that I feel like I like failed a kid. One, because I know I tried my hardest.
Yeah.
And so whatever they get out of, they get out of it. But two, I really try to read like each kid, you know, individually and be like, oh, what can I do? What is this kid lacking? Maybe they're not getting this like at home in their home life. Maybe they're just, maybe their parents are trying to help them with that, but it's just maybe they hear it from a different source might help, you know, like I said, of just even like making sure kids look at you. Hey, I'm right here. Look right here. What did you say? You know, and every practice, you know, show me some love. Let's dap it up. Like just getting used to like talking to an adult and not, you know, there's like those kind of characteristics. Then as you get older, like, all right, you also know this stuff. Well, we've graduated to the next, you know, and did you eat right last night? You know, so now I'm in, you know, sixth grade. Okay. So night before we carb up, in the morning we carb up again. Like, don't be staying out too late. Here's your bedtime curfew. And if I can tell if you did it or not.
Right.
So you can tell me everything you want. I'll see it. And so I think it's you sort of like graduate.
It kind of evolves. Yeah.
That's, you know, you're in 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 of just like, and that's also rewarding for you to stick with it because you get to, by and large, you keep a lot of the same kids.
Yeah.
You know, so my basketball team has 3 of my football kids on it or 4 of my football kids, something like that. I wish I could have them all. Like that would be awesome. But so you're kind of like learning with those kids. And then once you see that them accomplish something, you feel good. And if they don't, I mean, you feel bad because you're like, did I fail them? Did I, you know, but there are certain things that just
out of your control.
Yeah. You know, home life is usually pretty brutal for some kids that you see not necessarily hitting the levels that you would hope. And it's just mostly like this, don't have any help.
Yeah.
You know, outside of when, you know, your window that you have them.
Which at least you have that window though.
Totally.
And I think that's the coolest. I mean, it's like literally my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Like coaching youth football I love it.
The thing about coaching is like you get into coaching there are a lot of people that get into coaching for different reasons. The best coaches get into coaching because they love coaching.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make a difference. I'm going to do this. When I first got into some of this stuff, like I helped at the high school, they're like, you can come once or twice a week. I'm like, that isn't how I operate.
Right. I'm all hit or wired. I'm either all in or all out.
Yeah, I'll be there every day.
Accused of,
Yeah.
half-assing something.
Yeah, I'll be there every day. And honestly, like, if I'm not, they're not going to respect me anyways. And then I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
And so I want them to know that I'm bought in so that they'll buy into like the things that I'm talking about, rather than show up and be like, oh, especially at football, or they like, sometimes they'll have a dad that wants to help or something, and they come in and they're say a few things here and there, and the kids are like, you got it, bro. Like, where have you been?
Right.
They're not going to ever say that to them, but in their mind, they're definitely thinking that.
Not carrying the same weight.
Yeah. So I don't know. And for you, like I said, I remember like seeing you walk in. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that Ben's doing it, because they need someone like you that has, the drive and has the personal excellence of your own. Like that probably another beef of mine. Like when you see a coach, I won't name the sport or the team, but there's a coach that have kids go against, and they're just like, not healthy,
Right.
not this, and I'm like, you are teaching them about what?
Right.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. We got to practice it. We got to practice what we preach.
And at a certain, like, they may listen initially because they're afraid, but as they start to wise up, they're gonna be like,
Starting to see it.
yeah, coach, okay, whatever. And so,
Isn't that the best thing to be called?
oh yes,
Coach?
totally. Actually, what's funny though is I know some coaches don't like to be called coach. So they're like, that's a cup, you need to know my name, that sort of thing. I could care
love
less.
Like when I've been running into my kids now, like at wrestling or wherever, they say Coach Ben. It's like,
yeah,
that's like my favorite.
totally. Yeah. And kids are just like so genuine, and that they're not saying hi to you because necessarily their parents like said it. Like, they're like, oh, go say hi to them.
Right.
There's probably other times that they saw you and were too afraid to even say hi to you, but they want to.
And then I go say hi.
Yeah, for sure.
All
Well,
right.
it is rewarding, big time.
Albertson's cake.
Okay. Yes.
It's the end, right? We're looking back. Like there's the Albertson's cake, and they're talking about Ricky's legacy, like the thing you're most proud of, or the thing that you hope is legacy might not be the right word, but we talked about all these things that you do, all these amazing ways that you pour into those around you, and all of that. If you're setting a priority for the cake, moment, what are you hoping people look back on and pull out, or like that you continue for, like, I don't know, just more from a priority perspective of you on the things that matter,
Sure.
Talk to me about what that looks like.
Man, I think
And hopefully it's more than 1
honestly,
minute.
well, yeah, I think it's more along the lines of like, did you leave it better than, did you improve? Is it better because you were there? Like, so, once again, a coach dealing, like, when I get to this team, when I leave it, it's going to be in a better spot than it was when I got here. Like, that I know, no matter what. Or my office, like, is this office going to perform at a higher level than it did before I got here? That sort of thing. So I would say, probably, I would hope that people would say, like, yeah, he made the world a better place.
Better. No, that
You
nailed it. That was it better because he was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Across the board.
Right. And what we talked about as the coach, right? It's like, are you improving everybody? And if not, then maybe you shouldn't be there, So yeah, I would say, yeah. Did I make the world a better place? Probably what I'm seeking out.
Nailed it.
And so far seems to be doing all right.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Ricky, I want to tell you thank you so much for
Really.
for so many things. Thanks for giving me some time today. Obviously, thoroughly have enjoyed the conversation.
Same.
But I mean it sincerely when I say, like, I've been able to. Watching you is not the right word, but like I see you.
Sure.
You
Yeah. We cross paths a lot.
And I've known that there's so much there. I didn't know the depth of this, and
Sure.
it's been so refreshing to hear from you. But you are making it better.
Yeah.
Like the community, your business, the teams that you're coaching, those that get to just brush shoulders with you,
Sure.
and I don't know. I hope you know it. Like,
Yeah.
I hope you get to see that and feel it because,
Sure.
because it's inspiring. And so I have,
Well, and as I said, that you can cut it out again, but you're the next YAFO president. I'm challenging you to step up and do it.
today's about you, Rick, right? We're both Inspired by Example shirts
Sick.
because
Thanks.
you genuinely are
Yeah.
inspired
appreciate
by example. So I just want to tell you thanks for doing that.
Thanks.
And really, honestly, just thanks for living the way you're living.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's
Ditto to you, man.
I mean, it's
For sure.
silly.
Yeah.
Appreciate it,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah.